Hi, I'm Pam, and this is a picture of Little Guy. By all accounts, Little Guy lived in a puppy mill the first 5 years of his life, in a cage. He lived with me for 7 years. When I first met him, he was so shut down that he was almost catatonic. He didn't want to be touched. He would turn his head away. It was as if the act of someone even looking at him was painful. Now, I knew I had a lot of love to give, and I wanted to give it to him. I just wanted to see what love could do. So it was 2 or 3 months of chasing him until I could pick him up, and he figured out a way to let me do that on his terms. He did not establish eye contact for 6 months. I remember that day, the first day that I realized he was looking at me, and he let me look into his eyes. I think it was that moment when it crystallized that he and I were on this journey together. You know, he'd become my very heart. After all he'd been through, he put down his guard and he took a chance on me. He welcomed me for 7 years. In those 7 years, I celebrated with him every little triumph. It was more than just learning to walk up and down stairs, or no longer being afraid of the sound of footsteps crunching in gravel. It was more intangible. It was the embodiment of confidence. You know, in 7 years, that little guy grew into a happy little boy with this carefree little swagger. But all along, he seemed to me to be in good physical health, considering his origins. But on February 17 of 2017, the day before my birthday, he transitioned from this world. He had a massive heart attack and he went instantly. So you can imagine how lost I felt. I asked him, I said, what am I going to do without you? You know, I just had so much fun with him in my life. I felt so fulfilled. And he said to me very clearly, just rescue me again. And I was like, come on, man. I can't go to the mill and rescue or negotiate with the breeders. I can't go to auctions. You know, the thing that would haunt me is looking in the rearview mirror as I drove away and knowing that I had left some dogs behind, like a lot of dogs behind. See, I personally would not be sustainable in that role. But I'll tell you what, I certainly honor the good that comes from that, because that's how I got Little Guy. So after he died and days passed with that little voice still saying, just rescue me again, I came across one of those videos by the Humane Society of the United States, or maybe ASPCA, of law enforcement conducting a raid on a puppy mill. I watched transfixed because they weren't leaving any dogs behind. Every dog got out of that mill. And I just looked at him in my mind and said, now I know how I can rescue you again. So that's how our legacy was born. That's how this mission was born. And we are on a mission. We're calling it Little Guy's Puppy Mill Rescue and Rehabilitation. The rescuing, which is just giving dogs a place to go when they're liberated from a puppy mill or a backyard breeder or a hoarding situation or any kind of situation of abuse and neglect. That's just part of it. But the more important part is the rehabilitation. And I'm going to be talking to you a lot about that in the days to come. But what we have before us is the opportunity to give these little beings new life. These little animals that have suffered the most. I mean, we're not going to run them through program. We're going to spend our time with them and get them ready to be companion animals. You know, if you think about it, do you know how much it takes for law enforcement to conduct a raid. I mean, they have to have investigated enough to believe that they can get a conviction, because conditions are so bad that the people should be punished for their treatment of the animals. Some of these animals will come to us and we will get to do a do-over, just like I got to do a do-over with Little Guy. For real, how often do we get to do that in life? I want you to join us. You know, it was clear, seriously, that being with me allowed Little Guy to unlock his love. That was clear. But I also want to be clear in that in my life, I have known so much love from the best family and friends anybody could ask for. But I know that no one has ever really loved me the way that little dog did. You know, he's the one who truly unlocked my love. And I really do see now more than ever what love can do. So I'm asking you to join us. I mean, we got to get this thing moving. We're in startup mode. We got to get it going. Like us on Facebook. It's Little Guy's Puppy Mill Rescue and Rehabilitation. Share this video far and wide, please. And really visit our website. It's rescuelittleguy.org. rescuelittleguy.org. You know, I think that you'll see that we do have a unique approach. We get to rescue Little Guy again. And we get to see what love can do.